Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. I hope students you are doing good. Chapter number 15, sampling distribution is under discussion. Today, lecture number 3. And the topic of the today's lecture is probability sampling and types of probability sampling. Now, students, kindly subscribe to my channel and give your feedback. Let's start the topic probability sampling and its types. In the contents of this lectures, first of all, students, I will explain brief introduction about probability sampling and its types. In the second point, I will discuss the first type of the probability sampling is simple random sampling. In the second type is stratified random sampling. Third type is systematic sampling, and the last type and the fourth type is cluster sampling. The brief introduction about probability sampling and its types is here sampling is divided into two categories. First one is the probability sampling and second one is the non-probability sampling. In this lecture, students, I will discuss only the probability sampling. A probability sampling is a process in which each and every element of a population has a known non-zero probability of being selected in the sample is called probability sampling. The advantage of the probability sampling is that it provides a valid estimate of the sampling. In probability sampling, each and every unit has a non-zero probability of being selected in the sample. सैंपल में सेलेक्ट होने के लिए उसके पास कोई ना कोई चांस होगा, कोई ना कोई प्रोबेबिलिटी होगी each and every unit of the population. And the types of the probability sampling are four. First one is the simple random sampling. Second one is the stratified random sampling. Third one is the systematic sampling. And last type of the probability sampling is cluster sampling. So these are the four types of the probability sampling, and I will discuss one by one each of the probability sampling. The first type of the probability sampling is simple random sampling. Simple random sampling is an important technique in which each and every unit of the population has an equal probability of being selected in the sample is called simple random sampling. Each and every unit have an equal chance of being selected in the sample in simple random sampling. In order to draw a simple random sample, the commonly used methods are first one is the lottery method and second one is the random number table. So there are the two techniques which can be used to select the sample of in simple random sampling. First one is the lottery method and second one is the random number table. So this is the brief introduction about the simple random sampling. Now the second type of the probability sampling is stratified random sampling. In stratified random sampling, sometimes a population has highly variable material and simple random sampling fails to give the accurate results. In this type of population, we have the sampling units of the different characteristics. So this population is called heterogeneous type. In other words, the population is heterogeneous. Divide the heterogeneous populations into homogeneous groups. हम लोग similar characteristics के जो भी sampling units हैं उनको combine करके homogeneous groups के अंदर जो है वो divide कर लेते हैं. These homogeneous groups are called as strata. इनको strata कहा जाता है. Then a sample of specified size is selected from each strata by simple random sampling method, and this method is called stratified random sampling. Now students, in stratified random samplings में आपके पास एक population होगी different characteristics के sampling units की. Similar characteristics वाले sampling units को आप लोग combine करके उनको एक ऐसे strata की form में, एक homogeneous groups की form में write करेंगे और then फिर आप लोगों ने select करने हैं कोई भी stratas को by using simple random sampling technique और then आप लोग अपनी information को collect करना है. तो this type of sampling is called stratified random sampling. The third type of the probability sampling is systematic sampling. Systematic sampling is a sampling technique in which elements from a larger populations are selected using a fixed periodic interval called the sampling interval. This interval is calculated by dividing the population size by the desired sample size small n as, and the sampling interval is denoted by capital K, which is the ratio of the population size and sample size. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल स्टूडेंट्स, आप एक पॉपुलेशन में से सबसे पहले आपने अपने यूजिंग पॉपुलेशन साइज एंड सैंपल साइज आपके सैम्पलिंग इंटरवल के को कैलकुलेट करेंगे और देन फर्स्ट केथ एलिमेंट्स में से आपने रैंडमली कोई एलिमेंट सेलेक्ट करना है और देन आपने उसके एलिमेंट्स का जो भी आपके पास आंसर होगा उसके फॉरवर्ड जो है आपने अपने नंबर्स जो है वो सेलेक्ट करने हैं, सैंपल्स को सेलेक्ट करना है और ये प्रोसेस जो है वो कंटिन्यू रहेगा अनटिल द आप अपनी पूरी कंप्लीट कर लेंगे अपनी पूरी पॉपुलेशन को. For example, if you have a population of 1000 items and want a sample of 100, then you will have to calculate the value of k, which is 10. You randomly select a number between 1 and 10, say 4. आपने first of all students kth एलिमेंट जो फर्स्ट 10 है, kth एलिमेंट आपके पास k की वैल्यू 10 है और उसमें से रेंडमली कोई भी आप एक नंबर जो है वो सेलेक्ट करेंगे, से 4, और देन स्टूडेंट्स आपने पिक करना है एवरी 10th आइटम 10 के इंटरवल के साथ। और फर्स्ट आइटम जो आप सेलेक्ट करेंगे इन सिस्टमेटिक रैंडम सैम्पलिंग के अंदर फोर्थ आइटम होगा फर्स्ट 1000 की पॉपुलेशन में से, और देन फिर 14th आइटम, देन फिर आपने 24th आइटम को सेलेक्ट करना है। और सिमिलरली ये प्रोसेस जो है वो आपका कंटिन्यू होगा एवरी kth वैल्यू के साथ, और लास्ट आइटम आपके पास जो है वो 994th आइटम होगा। तो इस तरह से आप लोग जो है अपने 100 का एक सैंपल जो है वो उसको सिलेक्ट करेंगे यूजिंग सिस्टमैटिक रैंडम सैम्पलिंग। Now students, I will explain the fourth type of the probability sampling, that is cluster sampling. Cluster sampling is a sampling technique where the entire population is divided into non-overlapping, naturally occurring groups called cluster. A single cluster is not a homogeneous group called strata as in stratified random sampling. Here a single cluster have sampling units of different characteristics. Now a random selection of these clusters is made and data is collected from all elements within the selected clusters rather than from the entire population. In order to draw a sample, the commonly used methods are: first one is a simple random sampling. In simple random sampling, each cluster has an equal chance of being selected, and in systematic sampling, clusters are ordered and every kth cluster is chosen. So there are the two methods of selected sample in cluster sampling. First one is the simple random sampling and second one is the systematic sampling. तो कोई भी टेक्निक आप लोग यूज कर सकते हैं to select a sample in cluster sampling. In this lecture, a probability sampling and the types of the probability sampling has been discussed. इंशाल्लाह स्टूडेंट्स नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में आपसे मुलाकात होगी नेक्स्ट टॉपिक के साथ। अपना ख्याल रखिएगा और अपने चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना है, अपना फीडबैक जरूर दें। ओके स्टूडेंट्स, अल्लाह हाफिज़, थैंक यू।